1 year. So for 1 year, for 2 years, there was no problem in the land of Braj. And Vrindavan is a place where Krishna was always attacked by demons. For 2 years there were no demons, but now another demon was sent by Kamsa. Krishna's friends wanted to go to the forest of Talvan, one of the 12 forests. Talvan, Madhuvan, Belvan, Bhandirvan, Kumudvan, Kamyavan, Lovan, Tapovan, Vrindavan, so many places. So the friends of Krishna, they wanted to go to Talvan. And Talvan is called as Talvan because it has tal fruits. Because this forest has tal fruits, it is called as Talvan. The friends wanted to eat tal fruits. But they told Krishna, Krishna, there's a problem. We want to eat these fruits, but we are not able to eat. Krishna said, what happened? They said, Krishna, there's a demon. There's a donkey there. And he's guarding all the fruits. He's guarding all the forest. He feels all the fruits belong to him. He's not allowing anyone to eat. He's there and all his friends are also there and they're all eating the fruits and they're not allowing any fruits for us. Krishna said, which demon is it? He said, Krishna, Dhenukasura. He's a donkey and he's guarding. Donkeys signify ignorance. They signify ignorance because donkeys are dull in nature. Once there was a king. This is last few minutes of our discussion. Once there was a king, and there was a sadhu who would come to the kingdom of this king, and the sadhu would always give spiritual advice, but the king was never interested. He was always waiting when the sadhu will go. You see, sometimes pre-KC, pre-Krishna consciousness, even when we would meet devotees, we would be like, अरे कितना बात करता है, बार-बार वही बोलता है, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Bhagavatam as it is, वही बोलता है, Krishna is supreme, Krishna is supreme, Krishna is supreme. He is speaking the same thing. कितना पकाता है, कितना बड़बड़ करता है. I hope that is not what you all are thinking looking at me. Everyone is looking at me and एकदम सच है, pointing finger सच है. What?
We are not pre-KC, you said, right?
We are not pre-KC.
We are advanced.
Oh, hey Vaishnava Thakura. So, Uttamadhikari better audience.
KC is also done.
PhD KC also.
Self-proclaimed advanced devotee. So there was a king, and there was a sadhu who would always come, and he would preach, and the king would think, "Kitna bag karta hai? This go." But out of etiquette, he would not say anything, and the sadhu understood, just like the speaker understands whether the audience is paying attention or not. Who is sleeping in the audience? Who is paying attention? Whose eyes are open, but with the eyes open, they are sleeping. Speaker knows everything. Everything is revealed in the heart of the speaker.
Names, please.
I will give after the class.
I know which category I belong.
मैंने कुछ नहीं बोला. So the sadhu would come again and again, and the king was not interested. So the sadhu understood, and the sadhu said, "Okay, I have an option for you. I will permanently go from here. I will never show my face to you, but there's a condition." The king said, "What? What is the condition?" And the sadhu said, "You have to make the most foolish person as your chief minister. If you make the most foolish person as your chief minister, I will leave this kingdom forever." This king said, "Wonderful. Good deal. It's not difficult to find foolish people. थोड़ा ढूंढेंगे तो गधे मिल जाएंगे." Again, don't look at me. गधे बोले सब ऐसे देख रहे हो. है प्रभु जी. So he said, "Okay." And the sadhu left the kingdom. And the king, he called his other ministers and said, I have a task for you. Go and find the most foolish person. I want to make him my chief minister. So they said, okay. And they went outside. And when they stepped outside, they found a person who was sitting on the branch of a tree and he was cutting the branch. So they saw him and said, great, like, ढूंढने का जरूरत ही नहीं, सामने ही है. The most foolish person is sitting in front of us. He is sitting on the branch and cutting the branch. Doesn't he know he's going to fall? He's going to hurt himself. They call this person, hey, what are you doing? You're cutting the branch, you're going to fall down. This person from up says, hey, don't disturb. I am cutting the branch. Don't disturb me. These ministers started talking to each other and saying, he's so foolish. So they were waiting. And in due course, when that person was cutting, the branch fell. He also fell. He injured himself. He came to the ministers and said, wow, you're an astrologer. You could predict the future. You saw my future. These ministers were thinking, he's so foolish. You don't have to be an astrologer to know this. It's basic common sense. You're sitting on the branch and cutting the branch. You're going to fall and hurt yourself. हाथ पकड़ के लेके गए king के पास. My dear king, your candidate, your Diksha candidate is here. He is ready. So the king asked, what happened? Like, how did you conclude that he is the most foolish? So कान में बोले, इसे गायत्री मंत्र देते, कान में बोले, this is what he did. And the king and the minister started laughing that he is so foolish. So the king said, I have something for you. And this person said, what? He said, I want to make you the chief minister. He said, what? Chief minister? I mean, few minutes back I was cutting the tree and now you're going to make me the chief minister? He said, yes, you are the chief minister from now. I said, okay. And the king gave a gold baton. He said, this is the gold baton and this, the chief minister should always hold. And actually this gold baton was given to those people who were very foolish. But this foolish minister did not know it. So he was always holding the baton. And he was so foolish. Right हाथ से खाने बोलो, left हाथ से खाएगा. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You give him order of work, he will do 5, 6, 1, 3. Complete topsy-turvy. He was very foolish and the king would get very irritated. But the king would still bear him. Because for the king, it was easier to bear the foolish minister than to bear the Bhagavatam class of that sadhu. So the king was still bearing. And time was just going this way. And whatever you ask him to do, he would just do it completely topsy-turvy and like very dumb and very foolish. The king would not say anything. Finally, the king was on his departure bed. When the king was on his departure bed, everyone was there around. And the king said, is there anyone missing? And the wives of the king, they said, oh, that minister, that foolish minister is not here. So the king said, please ask him to come. Please tell him that I am departing this world. So that chief minister also came. And he looked at the king and said, what happened? Where are you going? He said, this is death. I am departing this world. He looked and said, you're not taking anything? He said, no, this is death. You cannot take anything. The chief minister looked and said, now I understand. You're taking your wives, right? You want some private time with them? You're taking your wives? The king said, no, this is death. You cannot take anyone. This chief minister said, now I understand. You're taking all your wealth, right? You're taking all your gold coins. You're taking everything with you. The king got up and said, don't you understand this is death? You don't take anything? And this chief minister said, now I understand. You're taking all your inventory, right? You're taking all your horses, you're taking all your cows, you're taking all of them with you. This chief minister said, he's so foolish. Don't you understand that this is death? You don't take anything at the time of death? This chief minister said, now I understand. You're taking this palace, right? That's why you're not taking me with you. He said, how are you so foolish? Like, you're so talented in being foolish. Don't you understand this is death? At death, we don't take anything. We come zero. We come as Sudama, we go back as Sudama. All our Chase and Bank of America is like as it is, Yatharup. It is there in the bank as it is. And this chief minister, again and again he would ask this question and the king was getting irritated. Even at the time of departure, he didn't have a peaceful departure. He was asking foolish questions. मरते समय भी शांति नहीं है. Finally, this chief minister, he looked at the king and said, "This gold baton is for you." King said, "Do you know what you're doing? This baton is meant for the most foolish person. You are giving this baton to me? You think I am the most foolish? You have that audacity to call me the most foolish?" This person said, "My dear king, all your life you collected that wealth that you cannot take. All your life you collected that inventory that you cannot take. All your life you collected that minister you cannot take. All your life you served those wives whom you cannot take. All your life you built a palace that you cannot take. But that thing that you can take to your next life, that is Krishna Bhakti, you never prioritize that. You have to be the most foolish person I've ever seen." The king got up. The king got up and said, "Who are you? I thought you were foolish, but now you are speaking like a very self-realized person. Who are you?" And this person removed all his attire and said, "Do you remember that sadhu?" He said, "Yes, I remember that sadhu. I am the disciple of that sadhu." That sadhu understood that you are not taking spiritual advice. So on purpose he tricked you. He asked me to sit on that branch and cut that branch. So it was not coincidence, but it was well planned. That advice, oh dear king, that advice that my Guru Maharaj was giving you when you were alive, I am giving you the same advice when you are departing this world. You cannot take anything at the time of departure. All that you can take is Krishna Bhakti. And the ignorance was completely dispelled. And the king came to reality, but it was very late. What is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is Krishna Bhakti is the only thing that can be taken ahead. While second and most important, ignorance is destroyed by Gurudev. It is only Guru Tattva that destroys ignorance. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnanam Janashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ignorance is only destroyed by Gurudev, Guru Tattva. And why did we quote this pastime? Because Dhenukasura is a donkey that represents ignorance. When they entered the forest, he represented ignorance, and Krishna said, "Balaram, it's time for you to step into the field." All this while I kill demons, but he denotes ignorance, and ignorance is killed by Guru Tattva. Balaram, go ahead. And Balaram went ahead. And Balaram, when he went ahead, there were tall trees. Tall trees are huge, like palm trees. Balaram went and started shaking. He started shaking those tall trees, and tall fruits were falling. And when tall fruits, when fruit started falling, Dhenukasura understood. And he started charging towards Balaram. What does this mean? Only when Gurudev shakes our false ego does the Dhenukasura, like ignorance, start coming out. It's only when Gurudev starts shaking us, when he shakes our false ego, that's when we understand, wait a minute, all this while I was Dhenukasura. All this while I was dipped in ignorance. That's when the ignorance starts coming out and we understand, this is wrong. This is not the way of life. Gurudev shakes our false ego. And Balaram was shaking the tall trees. Dhenukasura with full speed charged towards Balaram. And when Dhenukasura charged towards Balaram, Balaram very effortlessly, he held the hind legs. He held the hind legs. He whirled and threw him right in the tall trees. And he came crashing down. And when he came crashing down, all the friends of Dhenukasura were there. They also charged. When they charged, Krishna took charge of the control. He took charge of the situation. Balaram was fighting Dhenukasura. Krishna was fighting the Dhenukasura friends, the friends of Dhenukasura. And same. The same thing they did with Vatsasura also. Whirling around. Mind you, they are donkey. It's not a 5-10 rupees like plastic toy that they are moving. It's a donkey. And with one hand, Balaram is moving the donkey. That is the power of Balaramji. If Balaram can shake ignorance so effortlessly, can he not shake the ignorance of our heart? If the donkey can be shaken so easily, what is our ignorance in front of that donkey? He just whirls him around and throws him, and Dhenukasura dies to the ground, completely bleeding. Shripad Harisuri comments here. Shripad Harisuri very beautifully comments. Dhenukasura had this feeling that he is Apurva. Apurva means one without a second, like class apart. Dhenukasura always had this feeling that I am Apurva. Balaramji thought to himself, you're Apurva, right? I will also kill you the Apurva way. Purva means ahead, Apurva means behind. On purpose, he held the hind legs and rolled him. Ye yathamam prapadyante. You think you're Apurva? I will kill you the Apurva way. Purva means ahead, Apurva means behind legs. He held the hind legs. You're Apurva, I will kill you the Apurva way. Shripad Harisuri. Such a beautiful commentator, so rasik. Dhenukasura died, he fell to the ground, all his friends also died. And when Dhenukasura died, the fruits also came down. And if you remember, when we spoke about the fruit vendor pastime, at that time we made this point that when the fruits came down, it was mixed with the blood of Dhenukasura. And Krishna's friends did not eat it. But the Pulinda ladies who were there in that village, they came and ate those fruits. Do we remember that? Those who were there? So when the fruits came down, it was mixed with the blood of Dhenukasura and it became muchi. It became contaminated. So Krishna and his friends did not eat. But the Pulinda ladies who were below Shudra, they came and they enjoyed the fruits. After Dhenukasura was killed, something very, very, very interesting happened in Vrindavan. What happened? We will see in the next class. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Srimad Bhagavatam Ki